learn a new language like French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult and time-consuming? Then go to Babbel.com and try it for free. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you will actually use. In 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel uses a modern conversation-based technique that makes language engaging, fun, and memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then, sentences gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Pat McDonough Show, and 2 hours of power for you. 2 for you, okay? So there it is.
Remember what you learned. With Babbel, you can speak a new language. Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel free. Just go to Babbel.com or download the Babbel app and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Yeah.
The best hits of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Listen to the music at home, in the car, or at work. Wake up.
It's a little better, ain't it?
And get radio hugs from Diane Lynn. Weekdays at 6 and 10 a.m. Baltimore's classic hits are on 99.9 FM in Harford County, Q1370.com, the Q1370 mobile app, and on Music Radio Q1370.
The WCBM studios are sponsored by Safe Retirement Solutions. Call Rob Baroe, 410-266-1120. SafeRetirementSolutions.com.
The views and opinions you hear on Talk Radio 680, WCBM, and WCBM.com are not necessarily those of the owners, management, employers, and advertisers of WCBM. But they should be.
The Pat McDonough Show is brought to you by Super Citizen Radio.
Where's that coming from? Where's that coming from? What the hell is that coming from?
Baltimore is listening to Talk Radio 680 WCBM. It's time now for Super Citizen Radio. Here's your hosts, Pat and Valerie McDonough.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the program. I'm very excited tonight. Very excited. Of course, there's nothing to talk about. That's the problem. It's talk radio. But I'm very excited tonight because we have young people in the studio, and we don't very often get an opportunity to hear the thoughts and opinions of our younger folks, and I want to do this more on a regular basis. So I'm very interested in that. And of course, we have Valerie McDonough with us tonight. And here's what we're going to talk about. And I'll give you the phone number in just a minute. And you have to stick on topic. That's the difference between the show since Valerie McDonough has taken over. We're going to look at the police defunding idea. You know, the Looney Tune left always comes up with Looney Tune ideas. This is one of the best. This would have to be in the top 3. Their ideas usually don't make sense. They're crazy. They don't work. They have so many flaws. But here's the thing. You know, the strategy is to get the wacky idea out in the mainstream through the media, which they control. And then the wacky idea, as time goes on, at least becomes part of the discussion. Even though it's crazy, when you first hear it, you say, you got to be kidding. But then it gets out through their system to the media and every place else, and you know, it becomes an idea worth talking about. So we're going to take a look at the national issue. In Baltimore City, we have a new prospective mayor.
But Angel, how you doing?
And we'll give you
Mike
some
Damsel,
statistics on
you're the
Baltimore
man.
City. The last place you want to
lot of
reduce
fun.
police, but he's for it. He's for it. And Baltimore County, Bernie
Sanders Olszewski.
Sanders Olszewski just keeps coming up with stuff. It never stops. You know, the official sanctuary county, he made it there. He gave us a tax increase his first couple of weeks in office. The churches, he shut down the churches, and I was at a news conference the other day with the minister from the Dundalk Calvary Baptist Church, and he's finding this guy because he had a session, congregation come in. And then Valerie's going to tell us about a story that happened in my legislative district in Bowley's Quarters at Seneca with the police and the wonderful Board of Education. Wait till we tell you about this story. We're going to talk about that. And if we get to it, of course, the new country, the 51st state out in Seattle, I want to talk about that. That's going to be interesting. But I want to start off and go around the table with Bradley, Garrett, and Leo. And I want to talk about this idea of defunding the police. Now, you guys got to get up on your microphones. I want to give you some statistics, because I did research on this, okay? Just to give you an idea. 95% of all police budgets go for the cops that are on the street. The University of Maryland and Michigan State University studies concluded that there is no evidence of an anti-black or anti-Hispanic use of force in cases all across the country. Minneapolis and L.A.'s radical county councils want to dismantle the Minneapolis and Los Angeles County Police Departments. Carjacking.
One of the guys' microphones was out, so I had to push closer to him, you know? Right, Mike Damsel, help me out, please.
By 45%. Murders by 60%. And it's hard to believe that, as I say, you guys are young, but Hubert Humphrey, who was a presidential candidate and considered a great liberal, but not a radical, he was a real old-fashioned Democrat liberal, was the mayor of Minneapolis at one time. So they have come a long way. Crime is up in New York, Philadelphia, and San Francisco. And one of the big problems is, the police are talking about this, it's the no bail law, which we now have in Maryland, by the way, big time in Maryland. And it is in New York, and there was a man in New York, you can't believe this story, a man in New York who robbed 6 banks and was released after each arrest. And he said to the New York Times, I can't believe they let me out. Now, how crazy is that? After every bank robbery, he was released and he went out and robbed another bank. So in the old days, if you robbed 2 banks, you'd go away for a very long time.
Yes.
Black Lives Matters.
Kathy Reedy!
Victims' murders are up 160%. Burglary is up 56% in black neighborhoods, particularly in New York and Harlem. So if you're going to have less police, there's going to be more victims. Most of them are going to be black. So Black Lives Matter is really doing the opposite of what they claim they're going to do. The budgets in Baltimore City, New York, and other places are already in trouble because of the virus. Nobody thinks about that. I mean, they're in big trouble. I know Baltimore County at least $200 million in trouble, and the state of Maryland $5 billion in trouble that they got to find, make up. And now you're going to mess with the police budget. 375 million.
Thank God for you, man.
375 million interactions by police with the public every year, a statistic from the Bureau of Justice, and only 2% of those interactions were complaints filed from people who experienced bad police.
Somebody took my big fan.
375 million.
I'm flipping out, man.
A couple final statistics. 492 murders in Chicago last year, only 3 involved with police.
The studio's hot.
In early 1970s, this is amazing. In the early 1970s, the New York police shot more than 300 people per year.
Police in New York City chased the bull right through the ball.
Now, last year there were 34.
Oh, okay.
The final statistics. In 2018, 2,925 black Americans were murdered. 2,600 of them, or 90%, were murdered by fellow blacks. So these are some statistics that tell you that there is probably not a need to defund police. I'll give you one last one about Baltimore City, which you're familiar with. The budget for, I don't even have to recite the crimes. We know murder, 350 years, 700 gunshots, and all that. The budget for the city police is $500 million. $200 million of it is fixed costs for pensions, health care, retirements, and all of that. Okay? So it's only $300 million in real money that's available. The other is committed. And they're 200 or 300 police short of what they need. So we're going to start with you, Bradley. Your thoughts on defunding the police?
So I think one of the biggest hypocrisies we can find in it is, they're criticizing the police for not having enough training. They need more training. They need to learn how to deal with these situations. And then on the other hand, they're saying to defund them. Well, how can you increase training and the like without that funding? I mean, I would expect them to, say, rearrange the resources in the police department. That would be a reasonable.
Well, they're talking about that. Johnny Olszewski's talking today about training. And here's something, some of the stuff I agree with. We'll get into some of that, but psychological testing. I don't think there's anything wrong with that because you can be a smart person. You can have a military background, but you can be like this guy up in Minneapolis. Obviously, there's something wrong with this guy with his knee on this person's neck. There's something wrong there. I mean, I looked at him in the video, and he had like a dead look on his face, like, oh, I'm killing somebody, who cares?
Jesus Christ.
Doesn't bother me. But so they have some ideas that I think are pretty good. But let's talk. We'll take Mr. Garrett next and get your thoughts on this.
So, I think one of the biggest problems that what we're facing with right now is, we're really facing a huge inability to talk to one another. It's people aren't able to do anything, and I think a lot of it does really have to go with a lot of agitators on the side of, the radical left, Antifa and stuff like that are really making it very hard for people on the right or even in the center to even, come to an agreement on any of the ideas. Because you have, terms that are being thrown out that are very, very super radical of just taking at face value. Dismantle the police, abolish the police, defund the police. And it scares people to even have a conversation with you about it. And so the thing is if, in my opinion, if people on the left are really going to be taken seriously, especially on trying to focus on defunding the police, they need to start toning down the rhetoric so that, they can be taken more seriously in political conversation about it.
Well, that's an excellent point, because that's what's in the news today. They are trying to talk with these people who have developed this new country.
Jesus Christ.
And they're, number one, they can't find a leader. Black Lives Matter and Antifa have the most control of what's going on because they're organized and well-funded, but they can't find anything in particular that these people want to talk about that makes sense and is reasonable. I mean, one of the things they're talking about is eliminating the Seattle police force, which they've already done to some extent because the mayor is a wacko lefty. And, in Seattle, we'll be talking about that later, but they brought it upon themselves. That's 20 years of wacko lefty leadership in politics in Seattle. And Antifa grew up in Portland and Seattle out west because they knew they had wacky, swishy, sissy politicians out there who would let them get away with whatever they wanted to get away with. But anyway, yeah, that is a big problem. But I'm going to just say this, and you guys may not agree with me. There is a theory, or I think a lot of people feel this way, that the situation is that we have people on the left and more liberal-leaning who disagree with the way things are in America, and they want to make a change, and we should try to work together and see if we can compromise on some of these ideas. And they just want a better America. Now, see, I don't buy that. That's not me. I think that the people like Antifa and others who are connected with them, including politicians and media, they don't want a better America. They want to get rid of America. They want to squish America. And they want to replace it with their America, whatever that is, which is socialist, weak, reduced, and let China be the superpower, which would be the consequence, whether that's what they want or not. But that's what they want to do.
10 seconds.
And what people on the left don't understand
For commercial.
is, people on the right, conservatives, moderates especially, don't
See, I'm hard.
understand
I work
this.
so hard.
So
can I have a little
they have
drink?
goodwill,
Just a little drink.
benefit of the doubt, and they
I
want
just
to
need a
talk to
little
those
drink
people.
of
But that's not what
my
it's
little
all
Chianti
about.
glass. Little.
They don't want to talk to
I
us.
hear it. Just a
Mussolini
little.
didn't want to talk to the government in Italy. Hitler didn't want to talk to the regime in Germany. They don't want to talk to us. They just want what they want. They want power. I mean, that's fine. A lot of people may not agree with that, but I think
Bada
that's
bing, bada
it.
boom, bada bing,
And
bada boom.
I'll give you an example. I'm reading a great book, which all you guys should read, and everybody. I finished it actually. It's called "The Conspiracy to Assassinate Abraham Lincoln" by Brad Melcher. It's a new book. Brad Melcher's great, done a lot of television and everything. But the book is about the assassination attempt in Baltimore City. And the great thing about the book is Melcher takes you right into that world, that time, and what people were thinking and how they were talking. And if young people read this book, they would understand something would become very clear to them. The world of that time was very racist. The whole South were white supremacists, and they hated black people. I mean, they really hated them. I mean, they went to war, lost 400,000 men. But he describes in his book, especially Baltimore City, where they were going to assassinate Lincoln. And the people of the North were different. So if you're a young white person or a young black person, you're going to see really how much the country has changed for the better. For the better. Because if you lived in that time, you would never imagine what today's world is all about. It's a fascinating book. But Leo, we want to ask you finally, and then we'll get to Valerie when we come back from the break, your thoughts on the idea of defunding police.
I really strongly agree with you, Pat, that the idea of defunding the police is totally counter to American values. I think one of my favorite parts about what America is the strong system of laws and a legal tradition that we have in this country. This year, 87% of police departments reported a shortage of people wanting to become police. And to everyone who's pointing out that we shouldn't have police, we should abolish the police, they're basically calling for anarchy in the streets, which is totally counter to what I think traditional American values are. And so, to look at an example like local government, we have the Department of Health, we have the Department of Parks and Recreation. And so I think that an interesting idea has come out of this. I've heard this in a few different circles. The idea of modern policing came out in like the 20th century in England. And so I think that it's somewhat, we can take this opportunity to update the structure of it. We have a shortage
I load
of
up
people
a bunch
who
of cool
become
songs, you're gonna
police.
die, you're gonna love it,
And
you're
I
gonna
think
die.
the reason is police have a huge number of different duties, some of which involve putting their lives on the line, others of which just become making our roads safer. And so I think restructuring these duties into an organization
WCBM,
that's
the Pat
solely
McDonough
meant
Show. Travis speaking his
to
call
protect
tonight.
citizens who are victims of crime, an organization that's solely meant to police the roads, would go a long way in helping to solve that shortage of police in the country.
You got a what?
And also to make these
Hey,
funding
Claude, how
issues
you
that the
doing, man?
police are
Thanks, good to
having,
hear from you, man.
far less grievous. Because
What'd you like to talk about?
we need to offer, obviously, an income that provides for that risk that these police officers are putting their lives on the line.
I'm gonna put you on after the commercial.
And so I
though,
think
you get
that
airtime.
restructuring the police department in this way with
got
a
it, man. Good to
number
hear
of
from you, man.
specialized duties would solve
And
a
you
number
take
of
care,
problems
and
and
call
also
Vinny
lead
to
to
get in
that
touch with me
rigid
so I can
training
promote him.
without a massive
Because I already got
increase in
one guy,
costs that
one guy I know
and
who's a
offer
guy
training
who's
that
good, Crabby
a lot of different
I already got
activists
him
are
on a
calling for.
commercial.
Yeah, there are some ideas that are appealing, and there's always room for improvement.
Then he
I
comes
know
in
that.
I'll tell you,
And
there's some money.
but
So hold
they
on.
are
Get
not
in touch
that.
with
We're going to come back in a minute
Thanks.
and talk with Valerie
I gotta
about
go.
this. And also, is
Okay.
the radical
Oh,
left and the
Blue, I'll
socialists,
do the
are
commercial
they
when I take
really
it.
opposed to the rule of law? You look about their actions and you
Jesus.
look upon their
They call they want to
ideas,
talk to me. They want to talk to
they
me,
do
right?
not want
All right.
the rule of law. I think it was Senator Cotton the other day said, we want community, they want chaos. We'll be right back.
Apologizing for your dog's behavior? Need help communicating? At Canine Concepts, we can solve your problems. The answer to your problems is a phone call away. Call 410-477-2000 for a free demo evaluation. Call 410-477-2000. Obedience, protection, handicapped assistance, boarding, grooming, puppy preschool. Visit canineconcepts.com. The best for your dog. Call 410-477-2000.
Have you ever wanted to learn a new language like French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult and time-consuming? Then go to Babbel.com and try it for free. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you will actually use. In 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just
I can't take that guy.
Babbel
Hey, listen,
uses a modern
I'm gonna tell you something.
conversations technique that makes
You need a t-shirt? All right. Go to my friend Bluefish Apparel, okay? Bluefish, Steve Blueford is a great guy. It's nice weather. I just get a freaking t-shirt. Go visit Bluefish Apparel on Facebook. Visit or call Steve Blueford at 443-278-4853. Now, Bluefish Apparel will do t-shirts. Take a picture of your dog, your mom, anything. He's a nice man. And also he makes skoozies so you can drink your beer and look at nice things while you're drinking. And also, he's a nice man. He's also a longshoreman, as myself with Local 333, longshoreman. Yeah! So, get off your tush. Give this guy a call. He's a nice man. He's not going to holler at you. He's a nice man. And you just call him. He's the boss. He'll do anything. He's a great guy. Swear to God he is. Tell him Ron Savage sent you, and you'll get a secret surprise. A secret surprise. Also, hey, listen, man, I had a party tonight. Jesus Christ. Oh! Fucking Louis just knocked the toilet over. He got drunk again on the Chianti. But you know what? Don't worry about it, because my friend Vince Palmer, he'll fix any kind of paper. What the hell I have? I squished my... He'll fix your toilets. He'll put towels in. And right there, go to Facebook at Vince's Tile Works. Vince Palmer, owner and the operator. He's also a longshoreman brother, Local 333. Woo! And that's how that is. So go to Vince's. Do it though. And you go on his page, right? You go on the Facebook, Book of the Face. Go on the Book of the Face. And he has all his pictures of him in the bathroom. I mean, no, he's not going to the bathroom, but he's in the bathroom fixing towels and stuff, and he has pictures of it. All right, sit there. I can't do anything. WCBM, the Pat McDonough Show, Ron Savage speaking. Is this you? All right, hold on, man, hold on. Jesus Christ.
Join me for the Kim Commando Show, Sunday night at 10 on Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
All right. We're back in the show. 2 hours of power. How about you, huh? Bada bing. Woo!
And now back to Super Citizen Radio on Talk Radio 680 WCBM and worldwide at WCBM.com.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. We are here every Saturday evening for you from 8 until 10, and our audience was already big, and it's been picking up. And we have with us tonight young people. Now, I say young. You want to tell your age?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right,
Hey,
so we have
WCBM, Pat
Bradley,
McDonough Show,
who
Ron
is
Savage speaking. Who's calling?
19.
Please tell me this.
We have Garrett,
20 years old.
and we have Leah.
Pastor
18
Lewis, how you
yesterday.
doing? Oh, holy
Happy
Mary.
birthday.
Oh, happy
Pardon
birthday.
French, I mean.
You didn't tell us.
Hey, Pastor
Then we
I
have
got you.
Valerie. Now, we want to ask you your opinion on the idea
just
of
talking about
defunding
you.
police.
Okay.
Remember, defunding
Oh,
means
it
taking
was
all the
good.
money
You,
away.
I'll
We're
have to
talking
walk
about
into church
maybe
with a
restructuring.
straight face.
Okay. If they want to take all the money away, I think it's a crazy
There you
idea
go.
because
Pastor, you just
I
hold
think
on. We got a
what's
guy,
happening
Claude,
is
but
the
you're
left
next. But I'll tell you what, my story
wants
going to
to
because you're a pastor.
make a lot of chaos for people, and that way they would
Hey, you
have
take it easy, all right?
control over everybody. You
No,
made
no,
an
hold on. It's great to
interesting
hear from you,
point
sir. Hold on,
before.
please. All right.
1970, there were so many murders. Now here it is, 2020,
It's only 10%.
and it's so many more murders.
Hey, how you doing? Oh my God, bless all of us. That's my little girl, Betsy Milliken.
Now they shoot 30. They're involved in shooting 30. Now, they're justifiable shots. There's no protests about it.
No, but you were talking about how the crime statistics were. That's what I was talking about. And one of the things was, I can remember back in the 1970s, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock at night, I used to be going to places downtown to have
Take it easy.
breakfast,
You get
dinner,
the other chair. You can sit in
whatever
the
it
other
is.
chair.
Now
Just
you
bring
can't
that.
even
You
walk
take
on
it
the
easy.
boardwalk in Ocean
Sit
City.
No.
You do a commercial break, I'll
Fella's
write you up down the hall.
point,
Celebrate.
5 point shot. But, I'm sorry, 5 people shot. But the point is this. Just to go into philosophy for a minute. I believe, and I've read a lot, I've read 100 books. I could get 2 PhDs out of what I've read about the left.
Oh, beeping.
In chaos. They don't want,
Something's gonna blow up.
a lawless society. You look at every one of their proposals, that's what you see. They believe out of chaos,
No,
they
now
can
it's
build
time,
their utopian
Dad, you know
idea of what America should be about. So, and I think their numbers are much smaller, but we're letting them get away with murder, literally. Where these sissy politicians are not doing their job to protect the community. Do you think that a single mother in West Baltimore who's just had her son or daughter murdered, who's only 13, 15, or 17, does not want the police to investigate and find out who did that and then punish them? Do you think those senior citizens who live in neighborhoods controlled by gangs and drugs on every corner do not want the police to investigate and clean those corners up? I remember I was in New York when Mayor Giuliani was the mayor.
She's right here.
Giuliani dropped
oh my God!
500 murders a year to 500 murders under his regime. It was called zero tolerance.
You
came!
No.
And when you called me, were you shocked?
I remember there was an interview. On
I
television
was.
watching
I knew right away.
There
That's
was a sergeant.
Man, I said, we're talking about you and deer hunting. Man, he goes, yep. Oh man, that's Mike. Man, that's Mike all the way. We're having so much fun here. I can't take it.
Giuliani is really doing a great job. The murders, the crime, the graffiti, everything is gone. How do you feel about this? Yes, the mayor backs us up 100%.
I'm doing
We feel very confident we can do our job. And then he asked the rookie, and what do you think about it?
Yeah, anyway, I'm doing stuff. I get in trouble in school. I just got out there again. But who cares?
The rookie made a very good point. The rookie said,
Look out, here it goes.
The governor keeps them in
Oh
jail
my God.
because he has the ability as running the prison system.
I gotta come. I'm a hyper guy.
Before we used to have 3 bad guys on the corner.
I always had that look. I don't know why.
And the next day he was out, like today with the no bail system, right?
Well, they're not only that, they're also releasing prisoners out of jail.
Well, 3,000, a lot of people don't realize this. You're talking about prison reform and people who like this criminal justice reform. They don't give you all the numbers on them. But 3,000 offenders have been released in Maryland in 4 years. We've gone from 22,000 offenders in prison to 17,000. Now that's got to have an impact. There's no follow-up to see who was released, and I would love to see what those numbers are so the people would know about that. But anyway, I think that there is a question here of the philosophy of the left, which gets me back to my original point. They don't want to change America. I believe they want to destroy America. So I'm going to go around because you guys are young guys. You may have a different opinion. We'll start with you, Garrett.
So, like yourself, I love reading philosophy. So I've read, Karl Marx, Fyodor Kropotkin, a lot of very far left, and also I've read a lot of far right literature because I want to know basically all the parts of the political spectrum. But I do agree because it was in the Communist Manifesto that Karl Marx stated that the ultimate goal of communism and socialism is a stateless, moneyless, and classless society. Basically anarchy, where everyone barters for what they do. But the thing is it creates huge inefficiency. Who do you go to if you're wrong for some way? There is no person, governing how how things are, how justice is supposed to work. If you have a lawsuit or a grievance that you want to bring to somebody, there is nothing like that. And some communist writers have advocated for people's courts and things like that. But we saw how people's courts worked during the French Revolution, where thousands were killed.
And in Nazi Germany.
Yes.
But what you described about Marx is the ideal of communism, but they always turn into fascist states. That's the problem. When we become fascist states, it's a dictatorship. Socialism leads to bigger government, which leads to a fascist state.
It was Milton Friedman who actually stated that, I think it was him that stated that within capitalism and free democracy, although there may exist...
They took my fan away. They had a nice fan.
Wealth,
so now I got this little teeny stinking...
And in socialism, there is great inequalities of power.
You go to the tourist, I'm going to buy some little fan with little water. What the hell is that?
And one political authority who makes all the decisions.
Stick your head out, ride down the highway, turn the freaking windshield wiper.
agree with me in believing what I believe in. But I think most people, I'm going to say 90%, are uninformed and don't understand what's coming at them. Especially
How do you know that? Maybe I tried it once.
Because you know, in high school and in college, you have radical left professors who are brainwashing and dumbing down everybody. Those civics, people don't know. I talked about Abraham Lincoln. Some
Serious news.
Plus, they're now facing the great Abraham Lincoln, the greatest president. They're now facing his statue. How lawless and senseless is that? Bradley, the idea that what we're up against is not somebody who wants to sit down and discuss differences, but actually wants to, I say, destroy this country.
Well, you can see that, they don't want to have a conversation. And I think that's the roots of it. They don't want to find a solution. They want to yell and scream. And
I told them to come closer to the mic.
That plays into that whole idea of, chaos and anarchy.
Okay.
You try to, on social media or, talking to someone over the phone, try to see where's a place we can come to the middle.
You can't have a conversation.
There's no middle. It's either, they want this idea that they know the majority of people really don't want, and they're going to fight for that and make it that you're racist if you don't believe in that.
Yeah, they're great at name calling. They have a name for everything. They have an answer for everything, and it's their religion. Now, speaking of religion, before we get to you, Leo, okay, we're going to talk to Pastor David Lewis, who I'm sure has an opinion on this. Pastor Lewis, welcome.
Hello, how's everyone doing?
We're all here.
Yes, I'm glad to hear Leo is there and the other two young folks. We need their input on this. I have a question. How much longer will a free people accept all of this and continue to be free? We've seen the last verse in the book of Judges. It says everyone did that which was right in their own eyes. And that is what's going on in much of our country and much of our world today. There's a purge going on in America. Movies, television shows, statues, all of these things are being removed, are being torn down. But this has happened before in history. 1936 to 1938, the Soviet Union was Stalin, and in Nazi Germany with Hitler. If you went against the government in the Soviet Union, you were deemed an enemy of the people. 3 million people were killed.
Just the promo for
you're familiar with that term.
Friend.
They went in and they smashed the shops and the stores and the homes.
And it's happening right here.
You're not on the book of the face? Come on.
It was a place
of American people, the stores of American people.
And what did they do? If you disagreed with them, they burned your books. And so, again, where are the pastors?
All right, I got the number right here.
Why aren't they speaking out against
That's a big question.
Yeah, and it's one that I continue to ask.
So you asked me for a number, you're on the write it down?
Have already locked our churches down.
Increase the medication, big time, okay?
The virus was used as the excuse.
I have no more medications.
Are they going to burn our Bibles?
I just eat that thing in the desert, the thing, and I run around with Jim Morrison.
And I'm going to ask this until I get an answer. Lose my voice.
But I thought it was cactus juice. They drink it on the Flintstones here, all right, but I wasn't.
Well, that's a huge asset to the American people and the American way are the pastors and the people of faith and the leaders of faith in this country who've been vastly silent, except for you and Pastor Shiflett. And people like that, I don't know. Baltimore County, I'm going to tell you something. Baltimore County is a good place to start.
Ulcers and death are caused by death.
Bernie Sanders for county executive, and he keeps doing bad things. Valerie's going to tell us about oppression in Bowley's quarters in a little while, about like the Gestapo against a young kid.
1 minute.
And it's an amazing story. She's going to tell us about it. You won't believe it when you hear it. But anyway, Pastor, you're right. You're right, that they could be the backbone of a movement. See, we don't have a movement. We have Donald Trump. Donald Trump could eat too many cheeseburgers and die of a heart attack tomorrow, or the CIA could stick a needle in his butt, or he could just lose the election. And where are we then? We're not going to have rallies with 20,000 people. So
I gave him a number, said he's friends with you, and he's got a roofing business, he's interested in getting on. I'm going to help him do that. And
all right,
I told
Pastor,
him,
well, Tuesday we will see you.
I can't right now because I'm on air.
All right, thank you very much. We have a TV show, Super Citizen, does it once a month. We were doing it twice a month. We're going to try to get back in there. But we have lost money because of the virus, at least 3 events. We're hoping to get back on track now that things are hopefully returning to normal. But the TV show is the only, I say to you, the only conservative television show that's local in the state of Maryland, and it's well done. You can go to supercitizenusa.com. All 30 shows are on there. You will be blown away by the quality of the shows. They look like they were produced in New York. The intellectual conversations and intelligent thoughts put forward. And
That's the
we'll
wrong
have
one,
you
Emma.
guys on there sometime in the future. Okay? But anyway, there are two things that the pastor was talking about. It's very important. Two things. Why aren't we fighting? Why aren't we organized? Y'all know the story of the Trojan horse in Troy. The greatest, most powerful, successful Trojan horse in the history of the world is in America now. It's called the media.
WCBM, the Pat McDonough Show.
That
Ron Savage
Trojan
speaking.
horse
Who's
is
calling tonight,
destroying
please,
this
huh?
country. And the second thing is that
I'm sorry, who's this?
besides
Laurie
the
Brett.
media,
All right.
we are
How
just
you doing,
simply
Laurie?
not
I haven't talked
organized.
to you in such a long time.
We're not organized.
Tell me your idea.
They are relentless, they are organized, they are brilliant, they are crafty, they never go away. Socialism and leftism
Yes.
goes all the way back, we go all the way to the beginning of the country, but really to the beginning of the last century to see the changes. And it comes at us all the time. All right, we need to take a break.
Hold on
We're
one
going to
second,
come
hold on
back and take our callers. And Leo, we're going to get your opinion.
Hold on
And
one
Valerie,
second.
is
Laurie.
America being taken over? Is the ultimate goal the destruction of America? Are there really just two agendas in America? The Destroy
Hold on
America
one second.
agenda
He's
and the
making a long
Defend
intro.
America agenda? And what side are you on? We'll be right back.
No rain associated with some low pressure that will be settling in as we move through the next few days, but we will see opportunities for wet.
All right, Laurie, real
weather
quick, I'm going to put your name through. What was your topic?
Temperatures will
Support of the
remain
police?
just on the cool side of average. We'll fall back to mid to upper 50s.
Beautiful. Oh, the
Partly
police.
mostly cloudy. Mix of clouds and sun for Sunday, mid to upper 70s. 59 the overnight low for Sunday night. Monday's high, mid 70s.
Hey,
Low
me too,
end.
huh?
As we kick off the work.
All right, Laurie, hold on, okay?
For the
All
Weather
right.
Channel, for Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
It's a time of tremendous uncertainty for everyone, but some things haven't changed. Stomach cancer is still a leading cause of cancer death worldwide.
WCBM, the Pat McDonough Show. Ron Savage speaking. Who's calling tonight, huh?
It's vital to know the risks.
Rob from Middle River. Hold on, let me get you in
It's
the magic
also
computer.
critical for cancer patients to protect themselves from all viruses. No Stomach for Cancer encourages you to listen to medical experts to understand your risks. Find out more about
And what would you like to talk to?
cancer.gov and learn more about your risks for stomach cancer at nostomachforcancer.org.
Domestic violence happens everywhere, in all communities. And in these trying times, when we're all staying home, more people
All right, you
may
got
be
it.
at
Rob,
risk.
caller number 3. I'm
If
putting you
you're
in Anthony
afraid
so you can have a little bit of
call the
airtime. How about
National
that?
Domestic Violence
All right,
Hotline.
you're welcome.
1-800-799-SAFE. 1-800-799-SAFE. Because while many businesses are closed, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is open. They will answer. They will help. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. One phone call, and you'll be routed to local services, residential services, and more. All available here in Maryland. That's 1-800-799-SAFE. Or log on to connect with someone online at thehotline.org. They will answer. They will help. Because right now, social distancing does not mean you should be isolated from those who can help. You are not alone.
Allow me to offer some sound advice. More than 35 million men, women, and children have hearing loss, and the number is growing. You need to begin your journey toward healthy hearing now by calling Clarity and Comfort Hearing Center at 410-256-1006. The center is located in Perry Hall. Begin your journey to healthy hearing by calling Clarity and Comfort Hearing Center at 410-256-1006. This message is sound advice.
Have you ever wanted to learn a new language like French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult and time-consuming? Then go to Babbel.com and try it for free. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you will actually use. In 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel uses a modern conversation-based technique that makes language engaging, fun, and memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then, sentences gradually get more
Get out! Hey, listen. My dear friend and boss, Benny Sedano, okay? Listen to this. You want the best produce around? Go to Ben's Produce. All right, Ben's Produce. Call Benny Sedano right now. 410-799-1833. That's Ben's Produce. Like the card says, let us serve you. He services all of Little Italy, and he's got contracts from here in another warehouse in freaking Pennsylvania and Jessup. So there. And I'm going to have you do your promo live here. So you get the time of hours and stuff like that. And you can even show cash. I mean, you can just. Matter of fact, when we do.
Medium and light duty. There are
All right, I'm going to hold up. Look at.
Jeff's Automotive Service. Just call 410-682-5700. Jeff's Automotive Services is
WCBM, the Pat McDonough Show. Ron Savage speaking. Who's calling tonight, Steve?
313 Mace Avenue. Jeff's is the winner of the Best Automotive Service Award for 2000.
Hey, Bruce, how you doing, man? Let me see.
Avenue newspaper.
Bruce Bolton.
Jeff's offers hundreds
And would you like to talk to Pat tonight, real quick? Because I'm going to go in there.
military members and would like to thank our military members for their service. Jeff's Automotive Services has a name you can trust. Remember, call 410-682-5700. Jeff's Automotive Services.
Okay. Okay, guess what? Let me see. We got Claude, Lori, Rob, and then you. Okay, you'll be yelling after the news. You'll have some airtime. Okay.
Army Hospital in Germany.
All right, Bruce. Hold on.
I just got a letter that said I had 48 hours to live. They even sent a flag to put on my coffin.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV.
Yeah, I'm gonna do something
I
special.
left the military. It was a traumatic brain injury. And when I got home, I fought depression, anxiety, and alcohol. I had nothing to look forward to.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
With DAV's help, my world changed 100%. I was able to build a new life for myself.
Forget about it. How veterans can reach victories great and small.
I'm a new great house, Army veteran.
I told you that there are more victories to be won.
My victory is just feeling alive and experiencing life.
I'll go down at 5.
Thank you for your service. Your victories inspire many more.
Don't feel bad.
Support more
Don't feel bad because they
And now back to Super Citizen Radio on Talk Radio 680 WCBM and worldwide at WCBM.com.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. I'm going to ask this question of Valerie and Leo, and then we're going to get to all of our callers. There's a whole bunch of them. Anyway, Leo, are we under assault from a not a foreign force, a domestic force that basically wants to destroy what America is all about and change this country? Not a transition, but really just if Biden gets elected, Biden's whole platform, all of his issues are now in the hands of a special committee controlled by Bernie Sanders. All the Bernie Sanders people are drawing up the Democrat platform.
That works so. I mean,
so if we get
it's hard
Sleepy
work,
Joe,
man.
Creepy Joe, China Joe, right?
I needed just a little glass of Chianti right now. Just a little glass.
Is it all over President Trump, please?
I think that might be a possibility, or at least for another 4 years.
What about the idea? Are we under assault here? Are they trying to take this country?
You know, honestly, I think you can break the radical left into two different groups. It's no secret that the radical left has a huge amount of influence on the media. And so you have all of these young people growing up getting exposed to America is bad, and all of the this injustice, which does exist, which we saw with Floyd in Minneapolis. But it's no surprise that when they turn 18 or even younger, they're marching the streets calling for anarchy and hurting people for their political beliefs. So you have that one group who someone might call a useful idiot. And then you have, in the other group, you have people looking to cash in and take advantage of them. We see a lot here. To give one example, Activision Blizzard is a company that just a few months ago decided to, so this one player won in one of their tournaments, and using his time slot, he decided to say free Hong Kong. And it's no surprise that Activision Blizzard, making a lot of money from the Chinese market, decided to take away his prize money, ban him from the league, and issue an apology statement. And now we're seeing that company jumping on this same bandwagon. So I think with their statement that it's always right to stand up and in support of this anarchy and the rioting. So I think you have a lot of these different companies and groups and powerful individuals looking to cash in on all of these angry people for their own gains.
But then again, you look at the big companies, you look at Zuckerberg, you look at Google, you look at the leaders, the CEOs of a lot of these companies, they side with the left. They side with socialism. They're capitalists, but they side. I mean, here's why I say what I'm saying. I've been around for a long time. I've actually been around since the Lincoln administration. And I'm going to tell you, I have never seen what I am seeing. Back in the 60s, when you had the radicals like Bill Ayers and the Black Panthers, you didn't have corporations supporting them. The media supported them a little bit, but they were also more balanced. And then we only had 3 channels, okay? We didn't have all the information age that we have now. But you didn't see widespread support. It was the young people and some of the colleges. But when I look at this agenda and the organization behind it, just think about this. Hollywood, television, the media, they have now taken total control of the Democrat Party. John F. Kennedy and Harry Truman wouldn't even be allowed into the convention, okay? They have taken control of academia. They have taken control of education across America, K through 12. Ronald Reagan once said, "I feel very lonesome. All we have is the White House." So how can this force, this agenda, that is so powerful, be so widespread and so deep? I'm telling you, just common sense tells you that anything that big, that huge, that powerful, they're up to something. You know, during the Civil War, it's interesting, if you read this book and you like Civil War, the Confederacy, the South, we had 15 slave states and we had 15 free states, okay? The South believed in their way of life. It was crazy. I mean, they deeply believed in slavery. There's a lot of economic reasons for it, of course, but they deeply, in their heart and soul, believed it. Even the pastors believed it was okay. But all they wanted to do when they succeeded from the Union is they wanted to just succeed and be left alone. They didn't want to go to war. Lincoln wanted to have the Union stay together, and we had to bring them back. These people do not want to succeed from America. They don't want to compromise on America. They want to take over America. That's the difference. That's my opinion. Anyway, Valerie, your thoughts on what I'm just talking about now. Is that what this is all about?
I believe it's what it's all about because, number one, if you look at what's happening today, all right, let's go back a month and a half ago. All the police, everybody.
Hey folks, at this time, I'm going to bring this camera over and we're going to do a very special treat, because we're going to bring the camera over here. And yes, I know you can't believe it. Please have a shot, drink, because yes, it's Bill from the Crabby Greek, and I can't talk anymore because he has to. Go ahead.
Come on over, folks. We got the best crab cakes in town. We're at 502 Washington Avenue, Suite 150. It's in Towson, Maryland. Our number is 410-494-9144. We're open Mondays through Fridays, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We serve it all. And on Saturdays now, we're open from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. for dinner. Best crab cakes Friday nights. We have live Greek music. I'll even come out of the kitchen and sing for you. Me and Anna. We're at the Crabby Greek.
Well, I think that's really terrific. I'll tell you what, we're going to have to check that out. And it's the summertime. It's going to be open air. It's going to be wonderful. How nice can you have it that you're just having great food with great people? Hey, listen, I grew up with eat, drink, and be merry. This guy's the epitome of it. Look in the dictionary. There's his picture after the word. And I'll tell you what, it's true. Crabby Greek's right there in Towson. Could I have that address again, please?
That's 502 Washington Avenue in Suite 150, Towson, Maryland, 21204. 410-494-9144. If you come to our store, you'll see an alleyway. Go up the alleyway, and our entrance is right there.
Yes, and it's a nice alleyway, and you won't get mugged or nothing. You just go down the alleyway. Trust me, I got a couple guys there. Don't worry about it.
We're safe. Thanks.
Thank you so much. We'll be back again with another live advertisement, because this is terrific. We need to see where Betsy is. Oh, Betsy's right there. Hi, Betsy. Betsy has to make sure, because she's the co-producer and she's the agent. She makes sure that, you know, things are okay and stuff like that. She loves everybody. There you go. There you go. Now back to the shoe. The shoe, I call it.
You probably know this. You're not that young. That during the Ronald Reagan years, a great president, there was the Christian Coalition. There was a number of groups. Pat Robertson, and the pastors were active. And now when we are in need the most, and Pastor Lewis and Pastor Shiflett and others, I mean, I guess I'm going to tell them they're going to have to do it. That's a powerful force. The Catholic, not all Catholics are liberals, you know, and there are a lot of Catholics that are not happy. There was a lady today who was an active Catholic, and somebody, I'm not going to mention, asked her about the Pope, and she said he's a commie. So I don't know about that. I'm not going to go there. Anyway, let's take another call. We're going to talk to Claude. Claude, good evening.
Matt, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Go ahead.
How you doing, Val?
Doing well.
Look, I was in law enforcement for a good while, and we're talking about defunding the police. And first of all, Peanut Head Scott and Mayor Young, I would have never let them deface the sidewalk with closed traffic off on Gay Street so they can make a sign that defund police with big letters with pink. Second of all, I wouldn't put up with this anarchy from them. And third of all, you can't defund the police because they're under federal consent decree. And all defunding means is to take away from programs with police, like special units they don't need. To defund them, they're being paid extra for these special units. Take them out of there, these special units. That's what defunding means.
Now to defund Mosby personally, she gets $275,000 a year.
2 minutes
Well, they're
heartbreak.
going to be the two biggest, powerful people out here, Mosby and her husband.
Yes, 2 Mosbys and a Scott. I'm telling you, we're in big trouble. This guy Scott, we're going to talk about him when we talk about Baltimore.
And what people have to realize...
He's already said he wants to defund the police.
And what people have to realize, what happens in Baltimore City happens in Baltimore County.
Let me tell you, we now have money in the game in Baltimore County. We are being impacted and affected, and it is hurting our county. They used to say, it's very parochial, Baltimore City. You have no right to say anything. You have no right to have an opinion on what's happening in our city. Let me tell you something. Your city is now, and your politicians are now messing up my county. We have a lot of rights. Besides, 80% of the budget comes from the state and the federal government for Baltimore City.
Right, it's big time. I mean, it's big time, man.
All right. So anyway, thank you, Claude. And we only have a minute left. Valerie, did you get a chance to answer? Mm-hmm. Was it a good answer?
No.
Okay.
Oh.
Here's what I'm upset about. I don't have enough time. Don't have enough time to talk about it. When are you going out at 59:30?
Oh, we go at 59:50. Right now, it's 50 seconds left.
I was at the Inner Harbor
I wasn't ready for that.
with the great honor of shaking the hand of President Ronald Reagan. I had met him before. I had a great experience with him, which we can tell you about one time. But he was dedicating the Christopher Columbus statue. And
Yeah.
every Italian prominent
Yeah.
person in the state was at this dedication. Now, our new mayor, Mr. Scott,
20 seconds.
does not like Christopher Columbus. And he is going to want to take down that statue. I guarantee,
Okay.
at the Inner Harbor. And I think it's going to be interesting how people react when Mayor Scott wants to take down Christopher Columbus.
9 seconds.
We'll be right back.
Stay connected with stimulating talk and breaking news on Talk Radio 680 WCBM, Baltimore.
He doesn't believe deadly force was justified. I'm Joe Giro, Fox News. That's what Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lutz-Bottom says about an overnight police shooting that left a black man dead. The city's police chief has resigned, and Bottoms is asking for the officer who shot the man to be terminated.
There has been a disconnect with what our expectations are and should be as it relates to interactions with our police and the communities which
I don't figure out what I'm going to do with the show.
Police say 27-year-old Rayshard Brooks had fallen asleep
For me,
in
it's
a car
tonight.
blocking a Wendy's drive-thru. He became combative after failing a sobriety test. The security camera recorded Brooks taking a taser, recording it, and an officer
When you come in and talk about your business,
Bureau of Investigation has launched a probe into the incident. Protesters took to the streets of cities across the country again.
And who are
calling
you?
for
This is
police
my
reform.
Fiancee!
Nice to meet you. You're gonna come in?
WCBM, the Pat McDonough show runs out. Speaking, who's calling tonight? Victoria. Hold on, let me get you the magic computer. Where do you have to? And we are talking to Victoria.
Many of these protesters want to make sure police reform is at the top of the political agenda.
And what would you like to talk to Pat tonight about?
Calling on city leaders across the country to reallocate some funding for policing to social services, saying it would ease some of the conflicts police are often called on.
Leo, how you doing?
Oh, I'm going to start you off with
And in Minneapolis, protests continue.
You're doing a good job.
Police reform.
You're a little too smart now.
Thank you, Victoria.
Making the other guys
Solution.
look bad.
Again, dismantling the police department. Now there's a stand.
The Minneapolis City Charter requires a minimum number of police officers per population. So the council is now moving forward with plans to modify the city's charter.
Fox's Matt Finn. America is listening. Fox News.
In times of trouble, when the world is on edge, your faith is always there.
I printed out a bunch of
Fox News,
graduation
we're
announcements. I wasn't sure if you would want one, but I figured.
Yeah, man.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Holy smokes, this is a wonderful day. Man, thank you so much for thinking of me. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I hope we have a working relationship in the future.
Now listen.
I'm here, the main guy. I'll make sure everything happens. I've got to make things happen. I'm sure I would love to be part of it.
Nice to see we can work on him.
We're hoping
I'm telling you.
it'll work in this case if the coronavirus that we're dealing with now doesn't mutate tremendously between now and the fall. And so the one we're making a vaccine against is still effective in the fall. We'll have a vaccine.
Yeah, well, it's not that far away.
FoxNewsPodcast.com. America's
And I was
listening
talking
to Fox News.
about when I was growing up.
President Trump traveled to West Point today to address graduates of the class of 2020.
The 1,100 graduating cadets returned to the U.S. Military Academy in late May to quarantine for 2 weeks before
Well,
today's
it's now the
ceremony.
Acropolis, but the Acropolis used to be Intel's Point because that was Jimmy up.
That was her, president's address.
Her father's brother.
That the young men and women before me today
Billy's Joy.
Well, my uncle was,
to this eternal chronicle
Julie
of American heroes.
Julie
Shook hands with the president next to the platform and saluted. Family and friends watched the ceremony online.
Now listen to that.
Due to the pandemic.
My mother
We're going to have
went to school with her mother. Miss Helen, that's right. And my mother always tried to get Miss Helen to buy this house on the way, but I don't know where they moved it. And I went to school with her. And then we both had a mutual friend, her name is Mrs.
It's top of the line big time, man. I've had it before. It's excellent.
And she had gone when she was younger than that. And I mean, I can remember hearing, I heard about it
Votes. Activists now are claiming that the problems are systemic, and they're calling for statewide audits. But Gabriel Sterling, a top state election official, says he hasn't seen any evidence to back that up, and is instead blaming the activists who he says have an axe to grind due to the uncertainty of
and
voters
it was
being
funny
unable
that
to
and
head
my
the polls
mother
this November
went to
due
school
to
with her mother,
coronavirus fears.
and then of course it was like,
and
then I got went to school with her, and then Avery
while
connected
others
it for
cite
all
its
these years.
unreliability.
So it's kind of an interesting thing.
And William S.
And then we
Sessions,
used
a
to go
former
down
federal
Jimmy's,
judge appointed by President
and of
Reagan
course
to head the FBI, fired years later
And I
by
understand
President
why.
Clinton, died Friday at his home in San Antonio.
Who was the guy that came in Pat County? Jesse Waters? Jesse, the Fox guy from Fox News.
Oh, okay.
He came in to interview Pat, and here's him coming over and bringing him food. Take Pat.
We'll see opportunities for what
That's
weather
serious.
looks like coming in by
And of course, he
mid-week.
talked about it on television, on Fox News, so that's another thing that was interesting.
Tonight, partly cloudy, mix of clouds and sun for Sunday, mid to upper 70s. 59 the overnight low for Sunday night. Monday high mid-70s to the low 80s.
Thank you.
I don't think
kick off the
Alex
work week.
came in
I'm
last
Jeff
night.
Eno for the Weather Channel.
I
For
told
Talk
him
Radio
they were-
680
because I had to try
WCBM.
him, Vicky.
Paid
I don't
attorney
know.
spokesperson. Attention, if you've had hernia surgery
Something
and you
happened with
experience
Alex. I don't know.
complications such as chronic pain,
Something
infection,
said
wound
something.
reopening,
Police.
mesh migration,
Said
bowel
that-
obstruction, need
Because he had a
revision
gun.
surgery, or other complications, you may be entitled to significant cash compensation. Hernia repair surgery is common. It requires a mesh product to be implanted inside your body. In May of 2016, the manufacturer of a popular hernia mesh product issued a mandatory formal recall due to product defects. If you've had hernia surgery and have experienced complications, you may be entitled to significant
what's your
cash
subject? 'Cause I'm
compensation.
gonna go back
Call
over
the
here and
hernia
I'll
mesh
put it
helpline
on.
now at 800-509-0867. Our experienced attorneys will fight to get you the compensation you deserve. You pay nothing unless we get a recovery in your favor. Time is limited to file a claim, so call the hernia mesh helpline now, 800-509-0867. Operators are standing by 24/7. Call 800-509-0867. That's 800-509-0867.
For the best hits of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Listen to the music at home, in the car, or at work. Wake up with a Merson person and get radio hits from Diane Lynn. Weekdays at 6 and 10 a.m. Baltimore's classic hits are on 99.9 FM in Harford County, Q1370.com, the Q1370 mobile app, and on Music Radio Q1370.
Broadcasting from the WCBM Safe Retirement Solutions Studios. Call Rob Barowie, 410-266-1120. SafeRetirementSolutions.com.
The views and opinions you hear on Talk Radio 680, WCBM, and WCBM.com are not necessarily those of the owners, management, employers, and advertisers of WCBM, but they should be.
The Pat McDonough Show is brought to you by Super Citizen Radio.
I'm Pat McDonough, and today, right now I'm going to be talking to my good friend from Crabby Creek.
Crabby Crab! Good night!
What is your name?
Bill.
Bill?
Bill Canaris.
Bill, sir.
Like right up the bill.
Look, we're gonna see milk.
My name is Bill Canaris.
And I want to tell you something. We just had one of the best crab cakes that we've ever had in my life. What do you think, Pat?
Yeah, I can tell you, Maryland has great crab cakes, and we have places that they're just super crab
got 'em
cakes.
online, too.
And Bill, I got to tell you, this is one of the best I've ever had. I mean, really, it was fantastic.
Now,
Thank you.
Now, Bill, last night you were talking about opening up, which Pat and I were supposed to go, and we couldn't come for whatever the reason was, but we couldn't be at your place last night, and I already explained that to you. So could you tell us a little bit about your grand reopening from the virus?
Well, honestly, you know, with the virus, it was hurting like it's hurt every business. And it was originally a breakfast lunch place. I converted it into breakfast, lunch, and dinner now. Friday nights, like we said last night, I have live Greek music, dinner music.
I love it.
We were busy. A lot of people came out. We're having a good time, eating, and just, singing with the band.
See, they were enjoying themselves because everybody hasn't been out in a long time, and you're open how many nights a week?
I think people are very anxious to come out.
So I'm open Mondays through Fridays, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. And on Saturdays now, starting tonight, we started 4 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Oh, that's great.
Now, where are you located? You're located in Towson.
Yes, I'm at 502 Washington Avenue, Suite 150, Towson, Maryland, 21204.
Where is that located? Is that close to where the courthouse is, or?
We're close to the circuit court. So the circuit court is to our right, like a catty corner. We're in the alley, like that little alley behind the circuit courthouse.
Yeah, that's where we just were for that, for a rally with the pastors from Dundalk.
That's Pastor Chiplett.
Yeah, with Congressman Harris. Well, I got to tell you, that crab cake was a knockout.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
And in Maryland, you can get bad crab cakes. You go to Western Maryland, they don't even know what a crab cake is. I mean, they call it a crab cake, but it's terrible. But that is a real Maryland crab cake. If we could take that crab cake, we got to talk. We could take that crab cake down to Myrtle Beach or Florida,
even New Jersey, New York, because they do what they call a deviled crab cake, and I'm telling you, they put pickles in it. It's unbelievable.
Bill, thank you. I know you're going to be helping us out here, and we're going to be promoting you every week because you have a great place over there, and I'm glad you're doing well. We all got to get back into business and make some money. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and I'll bring more crab cakes next week for you guys.
Man, I don't know if I can handle it.
And give us a call at 410-494-9144.
410-491
494
494
9144.
9144. The Crabby Greek. And I'm going to tell you, they're good. They are good. Thank you, Bill. All right, well, we're going to get back to business here. We got a whole lot of...
Now is it. Now he's coming from the...
Let's talk about...
Here he comes.
Okay, guys, because we got...
No. This is live, man.
What's up, guys?
How's it going? So we had double promo from the Crabby Greek, and I tell you what, the crab cakes are terrific. Jesus Christ.
Sharon White.
Here, I gotta show. I can't take it. Can you see that? Can you see that? That is what we're talking about. We got the sizzle and the steak I show you. Usually it's just the sizzle because it's all cold. But there it is. There it is.
You gotta be aggressive.
I had to take it off the air because small children and animals, they'll flip out because it's so good and they'll die. So, you know, for there's closure calls, or, you know, our insurance company, I can't handle it. So, what I just showed you is the real deal. Crabby Greek in Towson. I know now everybody, so you got to tell them, you know, your address and everything.
It's 502 Washington Avenue, Suite 150, Towson, Maryland, 21204 410-494-9144.
By the way, can you tell us who that wonderful, good-looking lady is next to you?
That is my fiancee, Anna. She's also part owner, 50% owner of the Crabby Greek.
Come on down and eat, people.
I can't talk anymore. It's too much. I gotta take medication. The Crabby Greek in Towson, be there or be square. All right.
$200 million is what it's looking for. It's actually $300 million.
And he's going to be here next week too. We'll have a lot of fun watching see. Watching see. Oh my God, again. All week. Now see, she can't handle it. All right. All right, there we go.
All right, Ron, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It's
my pleasure to meet you. Please come again.
Some pain.
And we're going to have a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Text me the number.
In his revolutionary
I will text you.
way of
My number?
thinking, he is to the left.
No, text me the
And,
crab cakes.
I'll find out.
Yourself.
I think John Olszewski
I'm always thinking
playing
about
the ball. Yeah.
That's it. It's my brother, you know. Well, we hang out, we are. But I'll tell you what.
Now, let's say the numbers, no, but it has. There's no question about it. And there's a
I'm
lot
gonna
of
promote it because I'm really good at Photoshop. And I'll do a big commercial of you, and I'll promote it on my page. I mean, I got CBS, NBC people that watch it all the time.
Awesome.
So it'd be great.
Awesome.
About it.
Thank you so
Get
much.
them under the spell too. Take care, man.
Thank you so much.
You take care. Betsy, say bye.
Bye,
You
Betsy.
had your protest.
Bye-bye.
You have a tremendous chief of law enforcement. The sheriff, Jeff Gaylor, he's fantastic, this guy. And he's an elected official. I think it's his second or third term. And when the protesters wanted him to come out and take a knee and they wanted to question him but actually hollered him, he said, make an appointment. Gives you an idea what he's all about. So, Baltimore City, Leo, the crime, we know all the statistics, we know all the numbers. Is there any justification for reducing the number of police on the street if indeed we're already 200 short?
I absolutely don't think that there is. However, the huge problem there is everyone calling for this: disband the police, have fewer police, defund the police. We really require the police to be there to enforce this justice and prevent anarchy from running them up in the streets. If we have fewer police, then they obviously aren't able to handle these terrible situations. Now, in situations where these people are demonstrating peacefully and trying to advocate, then by all means I support them. But in cases where there's these violent, different riots that are damaging local businesses, they're hurting neighborhoods, and they're doing damage that needs to be taken out of the budget to repair it, well, then the police need to do their duty and be sent in and have the power to act in order to defend these neighborhoods.
You don't want to dial 911 and have a social worker show up when your wife's when you're abusing your wife, when she calls 911. But the other thing, you know, I served in the legislature for 20 years, and I was on the Judiciary Committee for 4 years, and I can tell you, I think I know a lot about public safety, the criminal justice system, and how things work. Maryland is another one of those states that has no bail.
Right.
So 700 people were arrested on the first night in Minneapolis, and they were out the next night on the streets again. Same way in New York. And they were arrested for some serious things like assaulting a police officer, throwing a Molotov cocktail, doing something bad, and they were back on the streets again.
There's no consequences with anything, Pat.
Well, there's no consequences from the household to the streets. I mean, the squeegee boys, this is why Jack Young didn't get reelected. I mean, the squeegee boys were still on the streets without masks. Okay? It's just such a symbol. I mean, you say it's so silly. It's a symbol. You know, when Giuliani became mayor, the graffiti and the homeless got off the streets, and the graffiti stopped on the subways.
But they gave fines to churches for being open, but the squeegee boys could keep doing what they wanted to do.
Yeah, they can do it. You could go to Walmart with 200 people. You can let out 1,500 offenders.
It's
but you can also
horrible.
search pastor.
Yes.
Or fine him or punish him in such a way. But getting back to Baltimore City, and I want to go to you, Bradley. Give me an idea how sick this stuff is. I mean, Drew Brees, this great quarterback, made a statement that I thought was very true. His grandfathers, 2 grandfathers, had served in the Second World War.
I'm waiting for a phone call from Senator Andy Harris. So
freedom, or at least the opportunity for freedom
call
around
after
the world. And he was
after 9, so we'll see how that goes.
And then they demonized him and battered him and took money from him. They won't tell you that, but now he's on an apology tour. He's got to apologize. See, they don't only want to criticize you and demonize you for what you did. You have to be punished.
2 minutes.
And Garner, you know, that's like, Garrett, I'm sorry, that's the old way, right? What you were talking about earlier today. So, Bradley, Baltimore City, what are your thoughts? Whatever you know about Brandon Scott and defunding the police in Baltimore City.
I think when you see how high the crime is rising, you know, every year it goes up. There's no conscionable answer as to why we would defund the police.
God damn, that was a good crap tape. Jesus
some
Christ.
of the more peaceful protests, and the police are actually, you know,
there's got to be more people talking. See, I
with
hate this
the
new thing because I
protesters.
don't see. Oh, there's
And you
other
see
people.
that,
I'm sorry.
You know, there are.
I'm rolling down.
Obviously,
Claude
good
Meltzer,
police
Rick Eccles, hi,
officers, and I
Melissa
do go
Cooper,
around
how you doing,
with
Melissa, baby?
And that's just
Rick
not
Eccles,
true.
Ron, how you doing? Apologize
And
for
the
your.
statistics we quoted earlier. makes
No,
it
my
happen.
dog's fine. My dog can't do. Rebecca can't do no wrong. So there. Melissa, defund. That's right. Bull crap, big
There's
time,
police
Melissa.
officers out there who
Mike
want to
Hagner,
switch
best crab
so they
cakes in
want to
town.
see
Ah, ha, ha.
the brutality. And
Hey, Mike Hagner, how you doing?
I would
Local
say it's a
333,
majority
brother.
of them.
Longshoreman.
And they
Union strong,
They
baby.
need to have the resources to do that.
Well, here's what I was saying when I was mentioning about my service in the General Asylum. What I'm talking about is that what people don't realize is they think, and even these lefties, they don't realize this. Well, they do. That it's not all about the police. When it comes to public safety and crime, it's the legislature. The governor and the legislature determine who goes to prison, who doesn't. They appoint the judges. The governor had I don't like the governor, but he had a great crime plan. He had a mandatory sentencing, was rejected immediately. He had a bail thing, a bail idea, was rejected immediately. So all of those things are being rejected, and it's wide open. You can commit crimes, and basically there are no consequences, as Valerie said. And so in Maryland, it's not only the lack of police enforcement, the lack of police, and the lack of consequences, but the General Assembly is pro-criminal. They're criminal advocates. This guy, Mosby, that just took over, he makes his wife look like she's against criminals compared to what he did in the General Assembly. Convicted felons voting, no capital punishment under any circumstances, all kinds of things that they passed that are what I call, pro-cop stuff. So, Garrett, your thoughts on the new mayor?
So Obviously, I have a lot of problems with a very progressive and very left-wing agenda. But I'll say this, I do not think that we should be stripping a large portion of funding from police at any rate. I disagree with that. But I will also say this.
WCBM, the Pat McDonough Show, Ron Savage speaking. Who's calling tonight?
We should be increasing funding that much either. Because
hey, Bob from Parkville.
We've been increasing funding for law enforcement for years. It was Bill Clinton during the 90s who kept on advocating
and what would you like to tell us
100,000 more
Pat
police on
tonight?
the streets. But crime kept on getting up. The thing is, my whole approach to law enforcement should be more focused on, instead of policing harder and law enforcement harder, it should be focused on smarter things. You know, and what's it called, investing in more,
so you'll have a good chance to get on right
and
after
stuff like that. That's able to.
Here's an example of that. The airplane. They don't like the airplane.
Okay, all right.
Flyover. But the cops will tell you it's great for protecting public safety
You know,
because
hang
the
on a
flyover tells them where the car went that committed the bank robbery, tells them where the guy went because of the technology that just shot somebody on Pennsylvania Avenue. But the Baltimore Sun and the media are all pro-criminal, in my opinion. I'll go that far because sometimes you have to hit the mule over the head with a 2x4 to get his attention.
Yep.
But yeah, I agree with you. I think it has to be smarter policing, but I want to tell you something. One of the reasons that the crime has gone up and has cost more is because of the general assemblies in every state. Every Democrat city has a crime problem, where the mayors have been Democrats forever. Baltimore City, it's been all black mayors, it's been all black city council presidents, it's been all black police chiefs to a great degree. Half the force is a minority. So where's the racism? The fact is, it's not. And any cop will tell you, I arrest them, they're out the next day. There are no consequences. That's why that squeegee stuff is symbolism. If I were the new mayor of Baltimore City, as soon as I could throw Jack Young's butt out of that office, those squeegees would be gone. And people would see it. They notice it. Now, the Sun would call me a racist, which I don't care. They would be gone. And in 2 years, that crime, those murders would be down to 100 or 150. Because I would be going to Annapolis telling them you can't keep letting these people out. And I would stand on the pulpit and in the media, and I would tell the people, educate them. The reason this is happening is because those fools in Annapolis, including your city delegation are the top advocates in Annapolis for criminal legislation that protects criminals.
It's over.
They are. They passed that juvenile justice bill. That juvenile justice bill was totally flawed. They were letting people out, and I stood up on the floor of the House and tried to have an amendment, so-called involved in the drug trade. They didn't tell you they were drug dealers, too, that were coming out. Not just people cursory using drugs, which I can understand. We can do something about that. But heavy drug dealers, but also the people that were coming out on drugs, they were not, they were just, it was like throwing people out of airplanes without parachutes. I put an amendment on that said there has to be a drug slot reform available for them to go to before they can get out. They have to be set up, lined up with drug treatment before they get out.
Rehabilitation.
Gotta have rehab. So they rejected that. They rejected it. But anyway, we're going to take a break. We have a lot of callers. We'll come back and hear from Leo and Valerie. I don't know. What are we talking about? The mayor. Oh, my God. I'm a nightmare. We'll be right back.
Are you always apologizing for your dog's behavior? Need help communicating?
No,
at
not at all.
Canine Concepts, we can solve your problems.
Not at all.
The answer to your problems is a phone call away. Call 410-477-2000 for a free demo evaluation. Call 410-477-2000. Obedience, protection, handicapped assistance, boarding, grooming, puppy preschool. Visit canineconcepts.com. The best for your dog. Call 410-477-2000.
What do I gotta do? What do I gotta do?
It's pouring rain. It's real dark outside. Your heart starts beating really, really fast. You've never done anything so hard in your life. This is boot camp. This is the real thing now. It's such extreme pain, you don't understand how you can finish. I began to feel that there was no way I was ever going to have my title, U.S. Marine. It takes special inner strength, courage, and desire to do this.
trying to get in touch with someone. I'm trying to get in touch with Tinos Markadis. Okay. That's it. Done. Here we go again. I can't. Call me. There. Call me. Okay. WCBM, the Pat McDonough show. Ron Sapp speaking. Who's calling tonight? Hey, Alex, how you doing? What do you want to talk to Pat tonight about? Real quick, because I'm getting ready to go back to the show, and I'll put you on right after. The zone. Oh man, Seattle Solution out there. All right, hold on, please. Oh, you got, I can't wait.
Exclusively on Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
Thoughts on the idea in Baltimore City with Scott, the new presumptive mayor, and defunding the Baltimore City Police Department with 350 murders a year, 700 or 800 gunshot wounded people that were saved by the hospital downtown. What's that hospital?
Johns Hopkins.
Not Johns Hopkins. The emergency center.
University. Shock trauma.
Shock trauma. Yeah.
Well, I think it's a disaster waiting to happen. I can see more shootings in Baltimore City. I can see more crime in Baltimore City, and everybody's going to be looking the other way.
Yeah, they're already looking the other way.
WCBM, the Pat McDonough show. Ron Sapp speaking, and who's calling tonight?
The radical left socialists oppose the rule of law. That's why they attack police and border guards. They do not want law and order or safe communities. They want chaos. They do not care about race in America. They use race issue to lie and divide America.
That was Congressman Andy Harris.
All right, we have some calls. Let's talk with Bruce, who wants to talk about Scott. Bruce, good evening.
Good evening, Pat. Good evening, Valerie. So, you know, he's the worst candidate. I would have rather seen, I'm not a big fan of Sheila Dixon, but I would have rather seen her than him. She's a little more pragmatic. So you stole my thunder. A lot of stuff that you're saying is true. He doesn't support the police. Even with the surveillance plane, they played around with that for almost a year and a half. And even after they finally decided to use it with the surveillance plane, he still said it was wrong.
No, you're right, Bruce. He didn't support the surveillance plane. Wait a minute. And he didn't support the Hopkins Police Project.
Well, there you go. There you go. And you know what he said? It's because there's a privacy problem. There's cameras all over the place. Everybody's got a cell phone. It's not a privacy issue. And so back to with the Christopher Columbus, he's the one, the city council member, that brought that up about that with getting rid of making Columbus Day Indigenous Peoples Day. And I called him and conversation with him.
Why? You know, that's okay if you want to have indigenous people and you want to have a statue. I don't have a problem with that.
No.
I'm a big fan of Sitting Bull. But I will tell you, you don't have to destroy Columbus.
Well, I agree. So what I said, you want to have an Indigenous Peoples Day, have it. Don't have it on Christmas. Don't have it on New Year's. Don't have it on. I have it any other day but Columbus Day. Or maybe, I was joking, I was being sarcastic. Maybe we can have it on Martin Luther King's birthday.
Let me tell you something. When the Islamic, thank you very much, Bruce. When the Islamic powers in history were conquering Christian nations, they would always put a mosque on top of a church, destroy the church. When the Christians were taking power in the Roman Empire, they would always put a Christian church on top of a pagan facility, right? Now, what they're doing is, why would they want to put the indigenous statue where Christopher Columbus is? I mean, they're adding injury to insult. You should not do that. I mean, I know you're taught different about history, okay? But it's not only history in America, it's tradition. And the Italian community in this country and the Knights of Columbus are proud of Columbus and proud of what he symbolizes, even though he's flawed. Every great person is a product of their time. We should realize that. So they will have certain flaws, but Martin Luther King had some very deep flaws. But Martin Luther King was a great man because he did things that needed to be done. And America needed to be discovered because why? Because God wanted it to be discovered. Anyway, all right, listen. Let us talk to, I want you to all stand up at this point, out of honor. I'm just kidding. We have our great Congressman, Andy Harris, joining us. Andy, good evening.
Good evening, Pat.
You have an opportunity here to educate these young people.
Oh, that's not right. Christopher Columbus Day, man. What's wrong with that?
Times we live in, certainly.
I know. I'm with you. That's what I'm saying. You know, Christ almighty.
A few months ago, what would happen? First, with the pandemic, and of course, we've been going around the shore today, the Eastern Shore of Maryland, and people are finally loosening up. They're getting out of their homes. They're choosing to live the lives they want to live.
They better stay off that boardwalk after 11
because
o'clock.
he said he favored city law. But as you were talking, I had to give him a piece of paper on a private line. Andy Harris.
Kind of behavior. I hope
that's fine, man, because
don't tolerate it. That's a family-friendly town, and it's certainly not family-friendly when you have those kind of things happening on the boardwalk, those fights after midnight.
Well, they were assaults.
All right, brother.
They were assaults.
Absolutely.
That's okay. Call
I
next
know
hour.
the Worcester County prosecutor very well. The state attorney there, and she will prosecute.
Oh man, I know you get a stutter there.
Like they do in Seattle to watch that kind of nonsense occur. Again,
they want to talk to me.
They had 3 incidents within 2 days. And they didn't get it after the first incident, and they didn't get it after the second incident. And if you look at those videos, where were the cops on the boardwalk, right? They weren't there. And now they're making a decision to have a curfew at 11 o'clock, which I think is a good idea.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't realize that was going to occur, but I was just talking with my wife about that, and that's the idea. We may have to do it. We may have to just cool the place down for a few days by instituting curfew. Obviously, have more police presence on the street. And the other thing interesting now is watching what's going on with the calls to actually defund the police when now more than ever, we actually need more money for training, more money to make sure that our men and women in uniform can do the job they need to do to maintain law and order. Because obviously in many of the big cities run by Democrats, liberal Democrats for years, things have just completely gotten out of hand.
Well, look at what happened in Fells Point last night. Now, I think it was last night. We don't have all the facts, but 5 women were shot, I believe.
Oh, I only heard 1.
No, it was 5. People were shot. Yeah, and there were more shot at. Now, we don't know who was doing the shooting. What's that all about? But Fells Point, billions and millions of dollars for the city, millions in taxes, and also Ocean City, millions and millions of dollars. I don't know. I can't believe what I saw on that video, Andy. And I'm wondering, where are the police? And did anybody call 911?
Well, it took a couple of minutes to call 911. And, of course, the Ocean City Police Department is not a huge police department. They can't be everywhere. But the bottom line is they just have to have a zero tolerance. And that's what we don't have in Baltimore City. That's the problem.
Hey, Mark.
Is that, we tolerate drugs and crimes in Baltimore City. And, again, it's just the way liberal Democrats have run the inner city.
4
and
people ahead of you.
If you look around the country
And
at all
we got
the places
Andy Harris
where look, and I think
I'll put you
protests
on hold.
are absolutely
I'll tell you what,
legitimate.
Mark.
They're
I'm
absolutely
gonna hold
legal.
on no matter
You
what.
should never stop
If
anyone
worse comes to
who's
worse, I'm gonna still
peacefully
hold on to
protesting.
Tom Morton.
But when they get violent and they start looting, you have to have a zero tolerance for that. You
We're
have to
talking about
institute
defunding the police.
law and order. And again, everyone has the right to peacefully protest, but nobody has the right to destroy someone else's property or to hurt another individual, like those dozens of police who've been hurt throughout the country during these riots.
Well, police have been murdered. And you know, when you remember a couple of months ago when we had these episodes up in New York where people were throwing buckets of water on cops? I mean, right there, that tells me that's like the squeegee boy thing. If you're going to let them get away with that, that just encourages more
That
violence.
should be assault automatically, and what they should do is find those people.
Well, the head of detectives in New York, not the whole police force, but the head of the detective force said this week that he will encourage his detectives, if they throw water on them, to arrest them for assault and to sue them civilly. To sue them.
Absolutely, Pat. You know, again, this is why Rudy Giuliani was so successful in New York, because he had, the broken windows philosophy. You can't tolerate any level of crime because when you tolerate a level of crime, it only escalates. And that's the problem in Baltimore City. For too long, the police have not been supported by their leadership, and now, I know you just talked about this. I mean, you've got Brandon Scott looks like, he's likely to be the next mayor. I hope he does, and I hope Shannon Wright wins the election in the fall. But Brandon Scott is a professional politician who has never done anything out in the private sector in his life, and he is part of the problem in Baltimore City, and nothing will get better. That's my prediction if he becomes mayor.
He's a lefty with a chip on his shoulder.
2 minutes.
And I think he's a little bit of a racist. That's just my opinion. Andy, we want to thank you so much for joining us. Good to see you the other day at the rally, and I want you to mention, because we had Pastor Lewis on earlier, and Pastor Shiflett is being fined by Johnny Olszewski, the oppressor of people of faith, and you plan to help out the faith community and the pastor by taking federal action if you have to.
Absolutely. Pat, what's very interesting is I just got a notice from the White House press office sends out notices, and just this week they sent a letter to the Montgomery County Council, because the same shenanigans are going down in Montgomery County, where they actually allowed, and again, look, I'm all for allowing a protest. They allowed a Black Lives Matter protest inside a Montgomery County library building in excess of 100 people. And of course, the libraries are all shut down, and you can't have public gatherings more than at 10. But I think you need to make an exception for protests against the government and government action, because that's part of the Constitution. But at the same time, Montgomery County limits church services to only 50 people. So the Attorney General's office, one of the assistant attorney generals, wrote to the Montgomery County Council saying this is not, that's not permissible. So I think the same situation is occurring in Baltimore County, where, as you know, Calvary Baptist Church got fined, whereas there were no fines levied and no actions taken against, again, the peaceful protests in Towson this past week, which are totally legitimate. I fully agree they should not have had any action against those protesters at all, because that's their First Amendment rights. But they should also not have taken action against Calvary Baptist Church, exerting their First Amendment rights.
Right. Congressman, thank you for joining us. We always appreciate having you on.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you. All right. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
No rain associated with some low pressure that will be settling in as we move through the next few days, but we will see opportunities for wet weather, it looks like, coming in by midweek. Temperatures will remain just on the cool side of average. We fall back to the mid to upper 50s tonight, partly to mostly cloudy. Mix of clouds and sun for Sunday, mid to upper 70s. 59 the overnight low for Sunday night. Monday's high, mid 70s to the low 80s. As we kick off the work week, I'm Jeff Eno for the Weather Channel for Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
When your vehicle needs help, Jeff's Automotive Services is the place to go. Your vehicle will be worked on by Automotive Service ASE certified technicians. Jeff services all vehicles, including cars, SUVs, trucks, both medium and light duty, and there are always specials available at Jeff's Automotive Services. Just call 410-682-5700. Jeff's Automotive Services is locally owned and conveniently located in the heart of Essex at 313 Mace Avenue. Jeff's is the winner of the Best Automotive Service Award for 2019 by the Avenue Newspaper's Readers Poll. Jeff's offers 10% discounts to all seniors and active military members, and would like to thank our military members for their service. Jeff's Automotive Services has a name you can trust. Remember, call 410-682-5700 for Jeff's Automotive Services.
Hi, I'm Mark McVeary, and you know my company, Reverse Mortgage Answers, as your local reverse mortgage expert. But did you know we offer a large variety of regular mortgage products that fit almost all types of income and credit situations? If you need to pull some cash from your current house or want to purchase a home, give us a call, even if you've been turned down in the past. With a wide variety of products, there's a good chance we have something to fit your needs. Call us at 410-788-7070. That's 410-788-7070.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're fighting against childhood cancer every day. At the heart of this battle are our donors.
Most of us want to make some type of difference in the lives of others. St. Jude does miraculous work.
The fact that no one has to pay, it's a place where everyone is treated as an equal.
Everybody is welcome here, and it doesn't matter your religion or what part of the world you're from, all that is taken away. It just gives you some hope.
It's just a nice feeling to put your energy into something that really does genuinely make a difference in a child's life.
There's just no greater gift. If we have the ability to help, then we have a responsibility to help.
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Find out how you can help at stjude.org.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental.
If you're ever in Dundalk, go visit Vinny's Cafe. He's a great guy, great food, great service, and it's a family-run business. You can tell as soon as you walk in there. Vinny's Cafe, right there in Dundalk, okay?
St. Jude is the patron saint of despair and hopeless cases. Join us in prayer every Sunday from 6:05 to 6:20 a.m. on WCBM.
Allow me to offer some sound advice. More than 35 million men, women, and children have hearing loss, and the number is growing. You need to begin your journey toward healthy hearing now by calling Clarity and Comfort Hearing Center at 410-256-1006. The center is located in Perry Hall. Begin your journey to healthy hearing by calling Clarity and Comfort Hearing Center at 410-256-1006. This message is sound advice.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Attention! If you've had hernia surgery and have experienced complications such as chronic pain, infection, wound reopening, mesh migration, bowel obstruction, need revision surgery, or other complications, you may be entitled to significant cash compensation. Hernia repair surgery is common and requires a mesh product to be implanted inside your body. In May of 2016, the manufacturer of a popular hernia mesh product issued a mandatory global recall due to product defects. If you've had hernia surgery and have experienced complications, you may be entitled to significant cash compensation. Call the Hernia Mesh Helpline now at 800-509-0867. Our experienced attorneys will fight to get you the compensation you deserve. You pay nothing unless we get a recovery in your favor. Time is limited to file a claim, so call the Hernia Mesh Helpline now, 800-509-0867. Operators are standing by 24/7. Call 800-509-0867. That's 800-509-0867.
And now back to Super Citizen Radio on Talk Radio 680 WCBM and worldwide at WCBM.com.
Well, I'm going to read you something. I'm going to have to read it, but this is really scary. And if this doesn't tick you off against Johnny Olszewski, who, as I said earlier today with the pastor calling in, is fining and punishing the pastor at the Dundalk Calvary Baptist Church. If this doesn't tick you off at the current administration in Baltimore County, I don't know what will. This is a news release related to Chris Papps from WBF, who I've worked with on the education program. A Baltimore County family is warning other parents after they say police were called to their house over something that happened during a virtual school lesson. The incident is raising concerns over privacy and safety in this era of online learning. As a Navy veteran with 4 years of active duty, Courtney Lancaster has extensive knowledge of guns, how to use them, and how to store them. Her 11-year-old son, who owns BB guns, is a Boy Scout in the 5th grade at Seneca Elementary School, which is in my district down in Bowley's Quarters. He's just a very intellectual child, but he's all boy as well. He loves to be outside and play and ride his bikes and that sort of thing, Courtney told Project Baltimore. In his pursuit of becoming an Eagle Scout, Courtney says her son has learned how to shoot a BB gun and an airsoft gun. He's also taken 3 levels of archery lessons. His mother says he stores his bow and guns in this wall bedroom cabinet, a safe and secure cabinet. It's never been a problem until June the 1st, recently, when police pulled up outside her home. I had no idea what to think. I've never been in any legal trouble whatsoever. I've never had any negative encounter with law enforcement, Courtney said. I had no idea, and I really didn't know what to think. Courtney said she was home and her son had been doing virtual learning since schools had been shut down in March. So I answered the door. The police officer was very nice. He explained to me that he was coming to address an issue with my son's school. And then he explained to me that he was here to search for weapons in my home. I consented to let him in. Now, she didn't have to do that. And then, unfortunately, I stood there and watched the police officers enter my 11-year-old son's bedroom. Courtney was told that someone had seen the guns in her son's bedroom. Remember, these are BB guns, on a Google Meet class on their laptop. I thought, this is outrageous. This is despicable. I had no idea what in the world could this be about. BB guns never, ever once entered my mind. How many 11-year-old boys have BB guns? According to emails Courtney later exchanged with the school administrator, a screenshot was taken during the online class. The principal of Seneca Elementary was notified. Courtney said, so there was a snitch. Some gun hater, probably.
Yeah.
Courtney says she was told the school safety officer, which are Baltimore County police officers who were in the school, then decided to go outside and call the police. I felt violated as a parent for my child who's standing there with police officers in his room. I could see the fear on his face. Courtney said the police officers were in her home for about 20 minutes and found no violations, but they were in her home. The police were in her home and in her son's room. Courtney says the police officers that no laws were broken and no dangers were present, and they left without any further action. Since that day, she has written school administrators, the superintendent, and the school board demanding answers. I mean, think for a minute. This could happen to anybody. Should it happen? Is it legal? No. She says that the principal initially compared bringing a weapon to a virtual class just like bringing a gun to school. Really? That's in your home. It's not bringing a gun to school. And I can tell you in Baltimore County, a lot of them are brought to school, 300 cases last year, and all of them were dismissed and never even reported. She was told she could not see the screenshot. It's not going to be presented to her because it's not part of the student record. Well, I guess it shouldn't be part of the student record because legally it can't be. But it was good enough to call the police into her private home. It's absolutely scary. Who are these calls? Who are these people? Who do we have viewing your children and subsequently taking screenshots that can be sent anywhere and used for any purpose, including the police? Project Baltimore reached out to Baltimore County Schools requesting an interview. We received this statement. Now check this out. All the violations here, all the basic foundations of the American constitutional system that were violated, this is their comment. Our long-standing policy is to not debate individual circumstances through the media. There are multiple ways for families to share concerns with us. In general, the safety of students and staff is our chief concern. Really? That's why you have a terrible record and nothing ever gets reported with the bullying and violence that's increasing in Baltimore County schools. Why there are thousands of parents on a website worried about what you don't do. And whether we are meeting in classrooms or continuity learning, these are personal subjects. Courtney says she understands safety concerns, but no one called her before involving the police. There's no more trust. It's just been a series of lies. Now, this is in our county.
One thing that I think that's kind of funny, not funny, but one thing that I think that's a real serious concern was that screenshot was taken in that child's bedroom.
Well,
not in the living room.
Yeah, but
in the child's bedroom.
But it was hooked up through the system for the learning, right? The online learning, which meant there was more access
to it. But the other thing is, you can use it. There's a certain way that you can take that shot, okay, and people can track. People can find out where that child was.
I think this
and
has
they
to
can actually zero in on his house.
Yeah, this is gun haters and violating privacy. I would have never let the cops in until they explained to me what they were there for, and then I wouldn't let them in. But I think we're going to get our Maryland Judicial Watch to take a look at this. This might be a good case. Anyway, let's go around the room. We'll start off with you, Leo. Your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm just really glad that the situation didn't escalate and that the woman in question was able to have a good relationship with the police officers who did arrive. What this does remind me of, and worries me, is the practice of swatting, which is choosing a given person and then either because you don't like their political stance or in cases just for fun, giving fraudulent or misleading information to the police in order to have their home raided. And I think it's a very dangerous trend of people using their own political beliefs in order to use the police as their own personal weapon.
Because they're gun grabbers. Somebody on that network reported what they thought they saw, and even that gun is allowed to be in the house. That's their gun, even if it wasn't a BB gun. So some gun grabber started this whole thing in motion, and the police should not have responded. But here's the other thing. You remember a story about 5 years ago, the mayor of a small town in Prince George's County, his dogs were shot. The cops kicked in the door, went after him because a former drug dealer that he helped to get arrested had called in a false thing about him selling and having drugs in his home. So that's what you're talking about, swatting. Here?
Yeah. In my perspective, I really focus on the legal aspect of this because I obviously if this does even go into the courts, which I hope they would take it up, mainly because it was a serious invasion of privacy and shouldn't happen again. But I don't know how the school system could argue that the continuity of learning, is an extension of, the schoolhouse rules, specifically with guns. If you do have guns in the house, which I think in the article it said that they were, safely contained, that the kid had them in a safe space.
Except at this point, he had it sitting on the table, which is where they could see it, but so what?
Yeah, it's still, I find it very outrageous. It's just, and plus, it being a BB gun even goes more kind of outrageous to what it is.
And you know how it's even more outrageous, Garrett? The fact is that there's all kind of violence and brutality attested to by over 2,000 parents, and I witnessed it personally with a good friend of mine, going on in this system, people getting hurt, young children getting injured. In my case, it was a 6-year-old getting hit in the head with a heavy bag, okay? And nothing was done about it until I got on it. But not everybody can call their delegate on every case, and they're not doing anything about that, but they come after this kid because they don't like guns. Valerie?
What I want to know is, if this case goes to court, I want to know what's going to happen to the person that reported that to the police. Are they going to keep their job?
Well, we don't know, but here's the deal. They may not have a job with the Board of Education, but, you're talking about the principal.
The principal.
Well, first of all, they will call, on the lawsuit, they will call them all in and put them under oath in discovery where they have to testify and tell the truth. And if they know who called it in originally, they may have to reveal that.
I'm also wondering if it's gonna be an open trial where the public can go in and see it.
Well, it's a civil case. It's not a criminal case.
Okay.
It's a civil case.
But just going off of what you just said, though, about talking about the violence that is in the school system. Yeah, I mean, I think there are way bigger problems that the school system should be focusing on, like bullying, and the severe amount of violence that is going on between students.
You know what the problem? You know what the problem is? See, guns are demonized. Bullying and violence are not demonized because Obama and the others of his ilk think that if you demonize that, then you're going to have black people, young kids, who are then going to be, subjugated to punishment, which leads to a prison life later on. That was the whole basis for that memo that Obama sent down. And he put guts into it and teeth into it by saying that the Attorney General would go after any school system on a civil rights basis, filed complaints if they failed to not go along with it. So they put teeth into it.
Under 2 minutes, hard break.
So Bradley, you may have the last commentary. Sir.
Well, yeah. As an Eagle Scout, I see this as a trend of a constant attack on things that have to do with, scouting.
Sure.
I would say that the Boy Scouts of America probably provide the best and most training of firearm safety to youth in the country.
And the mother was training him also. He was well trained.
Right, and my biggest concern is they went straight to the police. They didn't say anything to the family.
Well, no, worse than that. It went to the SROs. These are the the police that are in the school system who normally handle these things, and they are Baltimore County police officers. They didn't think that was strong enough. They went outside and they got the police off the street to do the job. So we are saying that now with these kids that are being bullied and the violence and abused, that we are telling parents don't go to the police in the school system, even if they are Baltimore County Police. Dial 911, get a criminal complaint filed against the perpetrator for assault. So anyway, always remember, truth and knowledge guarantee liberty. Keep the faith, keep punching. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, he left the cars, right? Yeah. The only one that said he was a stay is Mark, of course.
Stay connected with stimulating talk and breaking news on Talk Radio 680 WCBM, Baltimore, and WCBM.com.
Atlanta's police chief steps down. I'm Richard Jordan, Fox News. Chief Erica Shields resigning after a police officer shot and killed a black man who snatched an officer's taser in a restaurant parking lot. The incident was captured on video. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms says lethal force was not necessary.
Because of